A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The apostles rejoined Jesus and told him all they had done and taught. Then he said to them, "You must come away to some lowly place all by yourselves and rest for a while." For there were so many coming and going that the apostles had no time even to eat. So they went off in a boat to a lonely place where they could be by themselves. But people saw them going, and many could guess where. And from every town they all hurried to the place on foot and reached it before them. So as he stepped ashore, he saw a large crowd, and he took pity on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he set himself to teach them at some length. The Gospel of the Lord. The apostles were sent out to preach the Gospels, heal the sick, and exorcise unclean spirits. And then Jesus brings them back and exhorts them to come to a lonely place for a while to rest. There's labour and then there's leisure. There's work and then there is rest. And our lives are permeated by this dynamic as well. And yet I think our biggest struggle is knowing how to rest. Downtime is often a restlessness, and overworking we struggle to rest. Unless we're being productive or efficient, we feel like we're not of value. We feel like we don't have worth. Leisure is there to be a time of reflection, a time to enter into the depths of who we are in light of God. And yet more and more it's become a time to forget, a time to escape. And I think this is reflected in one of the words we use when we speak about rest or leisure, namely amusement. Amusement. What does the word amusement mean? The word comes from the Muses, and the Muses were Greek goddesses who were divine patrons of the liberal arts. The Muses would refresh and recreate people, helping them to regain their true worth. One of their principal roles was to remind people of who they are, not to forget. And there were different schools in the ancient world, and that have shrines to the Muses called museon, where we get the word museum today. All museums are reminders of who we are, where we've come from, who we are, and where we are going. The Muses then were a form of recreation, not of distraction. But once we place the A in front of muse, we get the word amuse, which is a denial of the Muses. Amusement no longer recreates us, but rather to amuse is to stupefy, to stare stupidly, a rather good description of much of our entertainment today. Entertainment which often doesn't recreate, doesn't help us remember, but distracts us. A way in which we escape reality, a way in which we can forget through amusement. Billy Joel, a favourite song of mine, captures this in The Piano Man. He says, "'Cause he knows that it's me they've been coming to see, to forget about life for a while." We feel this need to escape, to forget. There are a few other examples that help point towards this, I think. There was an advertisement for a hotel chain touting the weekend getaway, and there was a picture of a couple looking at each other in a rather non-platonic fashion, and it had the caption, "Where your body checks in and your mind checks out." Exemplifies an escape, a way to forget reality. Or the other famous phrase, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." Of course, the only thing that stays in Vegas is people's money, or their actions come right back with them on the plane, whether they like it or not. De Hock, a former chief of Visa bank card operation, he says, "It's not that people value money more, but they value everything else so much less. They're not more greedy, but that they have no other values to keep their greed in check. All this from Chesterton. He says, never drink out of misery, only drink out of joy. Never drink because you have to. Always drink because you do not need to. Often we drink as an escape to avoid reality. And our rest is often characterized by this. Not a deepening of reality, not renewing and recreating ourselves, but it's an escape, a way to forget my existence. What does Jesus exhort us to do in today's gospel? I think there are two things that proper rest is characterized by. The first, he says, is come away for a while. There must be some kind of separation. One of the things I struggle with, if I've got time to rest, is I like to just pull out my phone and distract myself. I don't come away from the regular routine of my life. I try and entertain myself. I struggle to come away. So I think that's the first thing we have to do, come away from those elements in our lives which are the regular characteristics of our lives. First thing, come away. Second thing, it's with Jesus. We can only rest with Jesus. And when we're with Jesus, we know we're not alone. We're not afraid that we have to cover up this sense of loneliness within by entertainment. We don't feel alienated. And it's only with Christ that we discover who we truly are, where we regain our true worth. So today, this is what we've done. We've come away, we've come to church, and we're with Jesus, proper rest. And may today, the Lord's Day, be a time of rest. Come away from your daily routines in a particular way. Spend some time in prayer or in gardening or just in nature. Read a book. Come away to rest. Come away from those things that distract us, that we can have that moment of rest which Jesus wants us to have. And I'll finish with this from the Catholic writer Joseph Pieper. He says, rest or leisure is the silence in the chaos, the stillness in the busyness, the pause that allows us to find meaning in our actions. Amen.